Good evening and welcome back to blackdoctor.org. I am your host, Dr. Renee. And as I mentioned last week, it is National Kidney Month. And you guys, we just lost one of our guests. 1 second. Phew. Okay. Hold on. 1 second, guys. So it's National Kidney Month. And I'm really excited because we have a really good conversation tonight. So what I need everyone to do is, one, if you're watching now, pop in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. 2, share the broadcast. Please share, because I know that you know somebody that either has kidney disease, is about to have kidney disease, or is already on dialysis, because there is a dialysis center around every corner in most urban communities. So please, please, please share the broadcast. Share the broadcast because somebody needs this information. So tonight we have not one, not two, but 3 doctors. We have me. Then we have Dr. Scherly Leon, who is a nephrologist, which means kidneys are her thing. She is a kidney specialist. And then we have our good friend, Dr. Kelly Wood, who has been here numerous times. She's an endocrinologist, which means that she is a doctor that really is concerned about your hormones, but more specifically, the hormones involving diabetes is one of the things that she deals with a lot, is diabetes. And in case you don't know the correlation between diabetes and kidneys, you'll learn it tonight. And then we have my friend Inez Woody, who was so kind to share her story on social media about what she's been going through as a kidney dialysis patient. So, everyone, thank you. I see we've got California, Arizona, Alabama, Florida, Texas, Southfield, Michigan. You're around the corner from me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please, please, please share the broadcast. If you're watching the replay, type replay in the chat, and please feel free to keep sharing because this is great information. And we will get started. Take everyone off mute. Good evening, ladies.
Hi, hello.
So I've already introduced you guys, so we're going to jump right in. So Inez, can you please share your story of how you discovered that you had chronic kidney disease and how you got to where you are today?
Yes. So back in 2017 and 18, I realized that I was having issues with my blood pressure. It was spiking, and my primary care physician was concerned. So she just monitored me, during that time period. Then around 2018 or 19, I was entertaining the idea of being put on medication. And so that was something that I was in denial about and really didn't want to have to do, but I went ahead and did it. And so from that point to 2021, just, making sure I was exercising and trying to watch what I eat. Um, and and from that point, 2021, last year, I was on my way to Sedona after getting a kidney biopsy because I was having these side effects, or I should say symptoms. But it was so weird because the symptoms aren't really there, or they weren't really there for me. So it was kind of hit or miss. And so my blood results from a blood workup showed that my kidney functions were not where they needed to be. And so a biopsy after an ultrasound basically led me to understanding that I had IgA nephropathy, which is what I understand as autoimmune disease for chronic kidney disease. And so from last year until this year, my kidney disease, it progressed pretty quickly. I went from stage 3 to stage 5 within less than a year. And I just started dialysis a month ago. So it's been a ride. It's been extremely emotional, a roller coaster. And it's just great to have opportunities as this to talk about and to also get more information.
So how many days a week do you have to do dialysis?
3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's for 4 hours. But I'm also in the process of getting trained for PD because I'm going to be transitioning to doing dialysis at home.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Scherly, can you decipher and tell us exactly what she's talking about, IgA nephropathy, and explain what dialysis is and all that fun stuff?
Right. So I'm not going to go into the weeds of, the diagnosis, but just know that, like we mentioned, what causes kidney disease, right? The main 2 things are diabetes and hypertension. Those are the 2 major risks. However, people like Inez can develop autoimmune diseases that can cause kidney disease. So IgA nephropathy, lupus, sometimes obesity. When they do biopsies, they see some changes in the kidney structures. So unfortunately for her, it's likely, out of her control. She had no contribution to that. It's just like she woke up and all of a sudden her body was attacking itself and led to these, to her diagnosis. When she mentioned some of the symptoms, someone typed in the chat, like, what are the symptoms? So she may have noticed that she was getting tired, maybe short of breath, maybe some leg swelling. Like you would see your face maybe puff up, like you're looking like, a little different. Sometimes your skin tone might get a little darker because you're building up the toxins that your body, that normally the kidney would clean out or clear. So that would be some of the symptoms. Now, dialysis. For her, again, depending on her kidney function, she mentioned that she went from a stage 3 to a stage 5. There are stages on how the doctors, there are ways the doctors stage your kidney function based on the lab. So we get the blood work and we look at certain things, and based on those, it tells you the percentage of your, like, we kind of call it percentage, but so like at stage 3, she was like at a 30, maybe to a 30 to 60%. But once you go to 5, it's at like less than 10%. And at 5%, you're considered end stage renal. And end stage renal means dialysis. You can't reverse it. There's no reversal. Dialysis is our lifeline. And many people who do go into dialysis, it's usually abrupt. It's usually like, we call it, you crash into dialysis. Again, going back a little, the reason I'm saying this, 37 million people are at risk, right, for kidney disease or have kidney disease, and they don't know it. Okay, so a lot of people are crashing into dialysis. You'll go to a hospital and all of a sudden they'll check your blood pressure is 200 over something. They'll do labs and your kidney function is at 5%. Or you'll get a cold or COVID and then you go into acute kidney, but you had chronic under. So then now you're on dialysis. You can't recover. Your kidney function can't recover.
Okay, so Kelly, I want you to explain. Thankfully, Inez didn't have diabetes, but explain the link between diabetes and kidney function.
So diabetes is actually the leading cause of kidney failure in the United States, and 1 in 3 diabetics will have some form of kidney disease. So diabetes affects, you can think about diabetes affecting all of the vessels that supply, all of our organs. It affects the vessels that go to our brain. So people have stroke. It can lead to heart disease and heart attack. So it can also affect the very small vessels that supply the kidneys and damage that. And then the kidneys, Scherly can talk about it more than me, but the kidneys have these small filtering units called nephrons. And diabetes also affect the nephrons as well. So one of the first things that happens is that because the blood vessels and the nephrons become damaged, the blood vessels become leaky. So instead of reabsorbing protein, we start to leak protein in the urine. So one test that endocrinologists and even primary care doctors should be doing every single year, at least once a year, is checking for small amounts of protein in the urine called urine microalbumin. If that's positive, we call that microalbuminuria. And there are medications that we can prescribe to kind of treat that or prevent the progression of microalbuminuria. As diabetic kidney disease progresses, you start to see a decline in renal function, as seen by that blood test called creatinine or EGFR, what the nephrologists use to do the staging. So a lot of my patients, one of the main specialists that I refer out to is a nephrologist. And some people go on for years with decreased kidney function and they never know. I find that sometimes some of their primary care doctors kind of ignore a little bit of kidney decline. But my rule of thumb is that once you have kidney disease, you should probably be followed by a nephrologist, even if you see them once a year just for maintenance.
So we have Marlo that said putting down this candy. So Kelly, is the candy really going to be a problem?
It sure is, because if you do have diabetes, keeping one way to prevent yourself from going on to having kidney disease is to have good blood sugar control. And diet, exercise, taking your medications as prescribed, going to your doctors, not smoking, stuff like that will reduce your risk of having kidney failure.
So, so now Inez was talking to me about her diet, and she has to meet with a dietitian. So, what is the diet? What is the special diet, or what what are the the parameters, I guess, in the food they eat, Dr. Shirley, for people that are
Right.
on kidney dialysis?
Right. So dialysis patients have a lot of restrictions. First is the fluid restriction, right? Because your kidneys are no longer working, so the dialysis machine has to remove all the toxins in the fluid for you. So if you go off your fluid balance, like just by a little, you'll be short of breath, and you'll have, may require an extra session. So that's the first one, is fluid restriction. And that's in all, not just water drinking, but like also the food, like if you're eating salads or,
Right.
all it adds up, right? So you have to be very mindful. Then the next is your potassium. Potassium is like, that's the dangerous one. So like for me, I'm from the Caribbean, right? You love avocados, you love mangoes,
Plantains and
plantains.
bananas.
It's all, like that list, it has to be really tight control, because you have to kind of like plan, your life, cut them out, because if you have dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right, you're having these windows of like where it can build up. And if you don't make it to Wednesday and your potassium's a 7 or an 8, you're at risk of your heart stopping, because the kidneys cleans the toxins out. So you can't play with that. Yeah. And also another thing too is phosphorus. Like phosphorus and calcium, like they bond, and they cause calcification, and that's what Dr. Kelly was referring to. These vessels, they're important, and so when you're having buildup in them, that's where dialysis patients are at increased risk for cardiac disease, heart attacks. Yeah, it's a very vascular disease.
So, so then I have to say, because there has to be an upside to this, can she get a kidney transplant?
Of course. I pray and sending out energy there for her for a kidney transplant. You had posted about our gospel singer who just recently passed.
Yes,
and
LaShun Pace, yes.
Right. And so she was 60, okay? And then so she
Very
had been on dialysis for 5 years. The average weight for kidneys, I believe in some states, is like 3 to 5 years. Some states it's longer, and some states it's shorter. But also, unfortunately, the life expectancy on dialysis is 3 to 5 years.
Right.
See, but some people, which I've known and I've seen, can be on dialysis for 10, 20, 30 years. I'm happy to hear that Inez is going to PD, peritoneal dialysis. That gives her a lot of independence. It gives you a sense of like, control, right? Like going to a center does impacts you. It impacts your mental. It impacts,
and that's for 4 hours.
Yeah,
5
right.
days a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So PD is also a great option. A lot of centers are moving towards trying to re-educate people about that, giving the patient back the control for peritoneal. And there's some home dialysis also that you don't have to go to the centers. So I'm very happy to hear that, she has that option. And definitely to be listed on the transplant list is very, very, very important. Talk to families, sometimes you can have a live, a donor transplant, as opposed to having to wait for someone to pass. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if you didn't know, everyone, we are born with 2 kidneys.
Yes, I wanted to say that.
Yeah, in case you didn't know. So we're born with 2.
Right,
and
right.
You can live with 1.
Right.
So
yes.
that's why,
Yes.
she was saying living donors are an option as well.
Yes.
But yes, I forgot completely, and I don't know how, but LaShun Pace died earlier this week. And she said she was 60 years old. She was on kidney dialysis. She died in the hospital in Atlanta, I believe. And she had died of organ failure. That was her, that was what was written, I guess, on her death certificate, is organ failure. But my grandmother, basically that's what happened to her. She had diabetes, and she went to the hospital, and they were like, there's nothing else they could do. And she died of organ failure, and she was never on dialysis, but look, probably should have been, but I don't. But so somebody said, so if you have questions, please type it in. Please type it in if you have questions. So what is the difference between peritoneal dialysis and then the dialysis at the center?
So peritoneal dialysis, a catheter is inserted into like your abdominal or peritoneal cavity, and they fill it with fluid, and that dwells or stays in overnight or during the day, and then they remove that, and that clears like it does the transport through the membranes to remove the toxins. No one has to know. You can walk around, you can okay. The dialysis in the unit, you got to go. You got to get transportation to go there.
Right.
You get hooked up to the machine. You're sitting there watching all the blood from your body come out, filter through, and go back in. It's very draining, of course, right? Risk of infections are high, even though there's different things. So you can have a catheter when you first get diagnosed. Most people like emergently get a catheter placed, and then that one gets, it's there for a while, and then you get a fistula created. So they use vessels, your vessels to create the access to enter so they can provide dialysis. Again, right? If you had a choice, what would you choose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Very interesting. So, for whatever reason, I'm sure we all know, diabetes is very prevalent in our community. And because of that, and because people don't pay attention to it, that's how we end up with a lot of people with kidney disease. And that's why there is literally a dialysis center, I swear, on every other block when you go to most urban cities. They are like popping up everywhere. It is big business because it is just, the diabetes is just so prevalent. So, Kelly, can you give us some pointers again on how we can prevent ourselves from getting diabetes?
From getting diabetes?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
type 2 diabetes, because type 1 is an autoimmune disease, just like what Inez has. So you can't really do anything about that. But type 2, we definitely can control.
So definitely having a family history of diabetes puts you at risk for getting type 2 diabetes, but it doesn't automatically mean that you need to accept that you will have diabetes. You still have some power to make some changes in your lifestyle to prevent diabetes from occurring. So having a normal BMI or as close to as normal BMI as you possibly can. What I mean by BMI, being normal weight. How do you achieve that? By exercise. The recommended amount of exercise is a minimum of 115 minutes per week. That's like half an hour, 5 days a week. I tell my patients, if you don't want to do 5 days, then do longer, but do a minimum of 150 minutes. And those who say it's too much, even if you do 10 minutes a day after dinner, a lot of us, we eat a heavy carb dinner and then we go sit and watch TV. Now that the weather's better, we can go for a walk. If you want to do 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening to make 20 minutes, whatever you can, just be more active. Monitoring your carb intake. A lot of our meals are carb heavy, a lot of the potatoes and the rice and the pastas, all of that stuff. Cutting that down, having more vegetables, more healthy fats, a lot of water, those kind of things. Not smoking, maintaining your blood pressure, your cholesterol level in a good range as well. Those are some of the things that you can do. And also like go to your doctor's appointments. The reason why a lot of people don't know they have diabetes or don't know that they have kidney disease is because they never get checked.
Thank you.
And I know with COVID happening, a lot of us were afraid to go to hospitals and doctors. And I get it. I didn't want to go either. But it's been 2 years now. So I think it's time for us to get back to doing our routine maintenance visits.
Definitely.
Go ahead. The way I advise is give it to yourself as a birthday gift. Try to schedule your annuals around your birthday. So either you want to do it on your birthday, around, just right. You're not going to forget your own birthday. So stop it. Once a year, get your full checkup.
Yeah, definitely. Because you just, knowing is half the battle. If you know, you can do something about it. And the earlier you know, the sooner you can do something about it. But when people just walk in the dark and just, I'm fine, but you don't know. Just because you feel and look, you don't know what's happening inside until you have someone that's done the testing. Because there's people walking around with blood pressure 200 over 100 that don't have headaches.
Yeah.
But then they
the
have
damage
a stroke
is being
the next
done.
day.
The damage is being done
inside. Plus, they have a stroke the next day,
Yeah.
and oh my God, what happened? Well, that's what happened. So you need to make sure you go to the doctor regularly, and also all of us are around the same age. They have changed, although Inez is a little younger than us. Oh, Dr. Kelly and Inez, I think. But but you guys, they changed the age. We talked about it last week because this is colorectal cancer awareness month as well. Get your colonoscopies. I'm going to keep saying
Mhm.
that. It really wasn't a big deal. Go get it.
Yeah.
And that is something that you have to go to the doctor and have the
Mhm.
doctor get you a prescription. And, so you need to definitely put that on your radar. Let your doctor know I'm 45. Your insurance will cover it, and go and get that done.
Mhm.
Dr. Shirley, we had somebody say, please talk about kidney cysts that are over 5 centimeters.
Right. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, though, is say that some people may have a condition called polycystic kidney disease, where you have multiple numbers of cysts. And that's concerning because as these cysts form, they can burst or hemorrhage and cause bleeding. And then that tissues being destroyed can lead to chronic kidney disease. So if you have one cyst, okay, keep going to your doctor, follow it, do their recommended imaging and things like that. If you have family history of polycystic kidney disease, then that's a different story. And you should be, following up and looking into that.
What other diseases do we need to worry about with the kidneys?
Oh yeah. So while you were talking, I wanted to make this comment. Things that people may not be aware of, right? If you have menstrual cramps, headaches, back pain, and you love to take Motrin, Aleve
Mhm.
chronically, these do damage to your kidneys.
Mhm.
If you take one Aleve today, it will cause a change in your kidney function, and then it'll resolve because you're healthy. But if you have underlying things like diabetes and hypertension, and you're chronically taking Aleve, Motrin, or the NSAIDs family, you can put yourself at risk for kidney disease also. So that's one thing that people don't think about.
Learn something new
Mhm.
today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so, what other diseases do we have to look out for with the kidneys?
Like I said, urinary persistent or recurrent urinary tract infections, kidney stones. Sometimes around the time where in the New Year's resolution, people are doing a lot of juicing. You can have increased. I'm serious. It's true. Like
You're right. They do. I didn't know that could
and
cause
then and
kidney
then
stones.
and then you can have a stone formation. You could be predisposed to stones, but you didn't know because and then now you're doing the juicing, you're getting a stone. The stone can get lodged in the wrong position, cause your kidneys to balloon up, kidney damage. It may again be acute and resolve, but it can lead to, if you have underlying stuff, chronic kidney. Another thing I was going to mention too, the kidney stones, and the urinary tract infections, elderly men with your prostate, right? Like you got to take care of yourself. Like don't ignore stuff. Don't ignore like, slow streams, and don't ignore blood in the urine. Things that you can do something about, right?
Right.
You shouldn't be getting kidney disease from like obstruction, like a kidney stone or your prostate. Also during the New Year's, people exercising a lot, causing rhabdo, causing muscle breakdown, right? A lot of protein intake on top of that, not hydrating, drinking water. Yeah, you can cause acute kidney, which again could lead to chronic kidney.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Mhm.
I look. I like that NSAIDs thing is still. I'm like, really? Who
Yeah,
knew?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Mhm.
another one. Sorry, it's just
No, it's okay.
also Pepsid, like antacids, also can cause excessive use of those, chronic use, like I'm talking like daily for extended period of time.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Very interesting. But yeah, you need your kidneys. You also should pay attention if you urinate frequently.
Mhm.
So if you urinate frequently, there's no like you're not like me drinking a gallon of water every day. Um, then you need to definitely tell your doctor. If
Yeah.
you have to make notes in your phone, make notes in your phone of these things so that you don't forget to
Mhm.
tell your doctor, because the doctor can only ask you so many questions.
Yeah. And we're smart people. We're in tune with our body. Listen to your body.
Right.
Stop taking the fun. You get a pain or ache. Try to remember, did I turn wrong? Did I, like,
Yeah.
use your resources, use your health care professionals.
Yeah.
And there's someone I would like to add
Go
too,
ahead.
as a patient, to like not be afraid of going to the doctor. so often we are afraid, and the longer you put it off, the worse it gets. I'm just thinking about in the year of 2019, I was actually caring for a loved one, and I put off going to get my annual that year. And if I didn't do that, maybe I would have been a little bit ahead of where I am today. So it's super important. So if you're listening and you have put it off, I really want to urge you to go and make your appointments. You'll feel better once you've done it, and to also advocate for yourself,
Hmm.
because even with the doctor appointments and going and being, on top of things, if something doesn't feel right, listen to your gut, get a second opinion if you have to. Just be, you know, just stay on top of your own health. It's your own responsibility to do that. And I think most recently I figured that out when I thought I was in so much denial going through something like this with chronic kidney disease. It really, it's a lot mentally to go through. And so you find yourself in a lot of denial. You find yourself, going through a lot of emotions. And so for me, that looked like, oh, okay, I didn't want to do dialysis, even though it was coming. I needed to go through the process, but I kept putting it off. So I said, okay, well, I went to go get my blood work done. Well, if my doctor didn't call me, then, oh, well, she didn't say it's time for me to go to dialysis. I don't have to go. But it's like, who am I fooling? She's okay. Her kidneys are fine. I'm the one that gotta go. So it's like, okay, once I realized, okay, my kidneys went down to 5%, but I should have already been in dialysis probably months before I even started. And that was just me taking advantage of, okay, where it was an oversight that a hospital or the lab or whatever. So I just want to drive the point about taking your health into your own hands. And that's what I'm doing with PD, with the dialysis, is that I just feel like it's important for me to be able to learn how to care for myself at home, even if it's a power outage. I want to know how to, do it manually, everything. So yeah, just want to
Very
mention
good.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's definitely, we always say on Black Doctor, if you can't advocate for yourself, then you need to always have someone with you that can advocate for you,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to stand up for yourself. You have to, and if you don't feel like the answer that you received was satisfactory to you, like she said, go on to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to get a third opinion, go on to the next one. But you need to make certain that you always understand exactly what is going on. So if you have to ask the doctor to explain it 10 times
Yes.
because they're using too many medical terms, then that's what you have to do.
Yes.
And I mean, as a doctor, I've had to do that. Like, wait a minute, slow down. What? you know, so you have to,
Yeah.
make sure you understand exactly what's going on. Because when you're dealing with any kind of illness, medications involved, and there's times that you
Mm-hmm.
have to take it. Like she said, there's all sorts of foods involved. You need to understand exactly what foods I can eat when,
Mm-hmm.
and so you need to understand everything. So you always don't be afraid to ask questions. And thankfully, now a lot of the healthcare systems make it where you can email the physicians. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't remember while you're sitting in front of them, you can send them an email and somebody will
Mm-hmm.
respond to your email in a timely fashion. So that's always wonderful. We had somebody ask a question. Oh, somebody wanted you to explain pre-diabetes, Kelly.
Okay, so like we know, diabetes means your blood sugars are high, and we have certain cutoff points where you go from being normal to being high. So, are in the diabetes range. So, in pre-diabetes, the numbers, your blood sugars are high, but they're not high enough to be in the diabetic range. And there are a few ways that we diagnose diabetes. One way is called the hemoglobin A1C. That's your average 2 to 3 month blood sugar average. And a normal A1C is when you're less than 5.7%. And to be diagnosed or classified as diabetic, you have to be 6.5% or higher. So for prediabetes, it's anything between 5.7 to 6.4. So you're higher than normal, but not quite in the diabetes range. People who have prediabetes are at a higher risk of progressing on to overt diabetes. So if you were diagnosed as having prediabetes, you have the opportunity to prevent that progression. You can actually get your A1C back down to normal. How do you do that? Diet, exercise, making those lifestyle changes. And just one point I wanted to make, even with diabetes, even with kidney disease, in the initial stages, there are no symptoms at
Mm-hmm.
all. Like you
Mhm.
don't know what's coming. That's why it's so important to have those blood tests done every single year and follow up with your doctors. Like a lot of my diabetic patients probably get annoyed at me because I'm sending them to yet another doctor when I send them to see a nephrologist. But my point is, you need to get ahead of this. You can't wait till you have stage 3, 4, 5 kidney
Mhm.
disease before you go see the kidney doctor. Go when you have stage 2, stage 3, but at least stage 3,
Yeah,
so that
definitely.
you can do things to prevent progression. And the same thing with prediabetes. If you've been told that you have prediabetes, more than likely you don't have any symptoms at all, but you still need to take action now to
Mhm.
prevent yourself from going into over diabetes.
Yeah, so you realize pre-diabetes, if someone said they've had it as long as they could remember, please turn that around. Turn it around. And there are so many wonderful things and foods out there. And if you need suggestions, let us know. But I'm telling you, like I will tell everyone, I love mashed potatoes. But now I eat mashed cauliflower, and I'm telling you, it can taste just like mashed potatoes. You just have to do it right. It will be delicious. So I can eat mashed cauliflower all day, every day, but I cannot eat mashed potatoes every day. Because diabetes does run in my family. Type 2 is
Mhm.
very, very prevalent on one side of my family. And because I am already allergic to a lot of things, I do not want to eliminate others. So therefore, I'm trying not to get diabetes. So
Mhm.
there's ways to, we're the three of us actually are all West Indian, Inez.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Kelly represents Barbados, Shirley represents Haiti, and I represent Antigua. And
I
so rice
love
is
it.
very, very prevalent in our families. But if we eat rice every single day, we will all have diabetes.
Mhm.
So you cannot eat white rice every day. You've got to
Right.
figure out something else. So there's all these things you guys have to figure out, just have to figure out. And you can still have candy, you just can't overdo it. If you have a candy bar a week, then okay, you had a candy bar. But you can't, and then when you have
Mhm.
the cake, you can't eat the whole cake. You eat a slice of
Right.
cake, you know, every, once a week, twice a week or whatever, but not the whole thing. So, I'm not saying you have to eliminate everything. And as everyone knows in Black Doctor, I've talked about many times, I've lost a lot of weight. I still eat a lot of the things because I want to eat them, but I just do it in moderation.
Mhm.
Do it in moderation, and that's how you eliminate yourself from getting these things. Yeah, okay, brown rice is great. brown rice Brown rice, red rice, and black rice. Dr. Rowe was on with us, a nutritionist, and told us how excellent those are, very healthy. So yes, brown rice is great. Most things brown are okay, right, Kelly?
Yeah, but you still have to monitor your portion sizes. So
Right,
you can't have like a whole big plate of brown rice and think
right.
because it's brown rice, I'm doing something good. I think, if you always had to make a choice between buying white rice or white bread or like normal potatoes over like brown rice or, whole wheat or brown bread or sweet potato, choose the brown option because more than likely it has more fiber, and fiber is more slowly absorbed so that your blood sugars don't spike as high. And it also makes you feel a little bit fuller, so you might eat less. But even when it comes to the brown rice, I would say stick to like half to 1 cup of brown rice. So if you
Yeah,
imagine your plate, half of your plate needs to be like veggies, a quarter could be a starch, and the other quarter would be like lean meat.
yeah.
That's a
So
simple way to.
this is a portion size, everyone. The
Mhm.
palm of your hand. That's the portion for your protein. That's it. Yeah. So if you're talking about fish, chicken, turkey, steak, what palm. My dad has type 2 and went blind from it. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic pregnant and exercise and changed my diet, no longer have any part of diabetes.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Honestly.
But yes, diabetes affects the vessels. So that's why people lose limbs and toes and their eyesight because all these things need blood to operate. So when you clog up these vessels, you can't get them back. So it's very, very important. Um, yeah, somebody said I just have to watch portion size. Yes, you got to watch your portions. Um, and make sure you don't overdo it because overdoing it is what will get you in trouble. So watch your portions. And like I just have to reiterate, like Inez said, you have to go to the doctor because she had autoimmunes, which means she wasn't somebody who had to check her blood sugars for any reason. She didn't have any of these other reasons to be
Mhm.
paranoid about this coming. So if you don't go to the doctor to
You
have
never
these tests
know.
done, you have no idea, no clue that you have whatever. So please make certain that you do go to the doctor regularly. And blackdoctor.org is a great resource because you can put in where you live, put in what specialist you're looking for, and they can find you a doctor, a Black physician, because I tell you, Black doctors are the best. Oh, Ellis, thank you for joining us, my colleague Ellis. If you're exercising, eating a primarily plant-based diet, you can have some non-healthy items. Thank you, Ellis. Ellis does a really great show with Dr. Monique, and it's called Veganish. It comes on
Okay.
later this evening, I think, and it's really, really great. How important is water intake? I'll let you take that, Dr. Scherly.
You and I, we're obsessed with water. You want to see? Look, I have two. See, she has one. I'm two over here.
My 32 that I can barely lift it. So
you don't want to see my other one. I went out earlier, so I had to downgrade.
Yeah.
No, it's very important. Not drowning in the water, but you want to be able to. You guys know your urine.
No, they don't know. Say it, because I was talking
Okay.
to somebody recently, and they were like, "Really? I didn't know."
No.
Say it.
Okay. So your urine has to be yellow to clear, right?
Mhm.
Not dark yellow. Okay. Nice yellowish to clear. That's a beautiful urine.
I'm a clear person myself, but I will say this, the other thing, and this is just way TMI, but I worked in OBGYN's office in college, and we had to do pregnancy tests all the time. When I tell you, the darker the yellow, the more it smells. Save yourself.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Drink your water.
drink your water. Drink your
Drink
water.
your water.
For your skin, everything. There's a lot of benefits to water.
Yes,
So.
hair, nails, skin, it's a wonderful thing. Drink your water. And, I used to tell people that water will kind of clear some of the things that I might have eaten that I should not have eaten. And so it kept my cholesterol down when I had a problem eating fried chicken every day. So, I'm giving you guys my secrets. I'm telling you, water is your best friend.
It is.
So Ellis said, my grandfather used to say, water is for the healing of the nation. Amen.
Yeah.
And if you can drink half your weight in ounces, kudos to you. I'm telling you, doing a great thing. Half your weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you can drink 100 ounces a day. You're doing a great thing to your body. Somebody said they've been faithfully drinking 64 ounces every day since January 3rd. She's committed to that from now on. Good job. Oh, somebody said when drinking lots of water, you must add in some electrolytes.
No.
I didn't think so.
No. Your kidneys are wonderful. They regulate all your electrolytes. You don't need alkaline water. You don't need any of that. Like acid base, electrolytes, fluids. That's what the kidney does. So you I'm not saying not to add it, but you don't need to add anything.
Now, if you're Serena Williams, Simone Biles, you're some sort of an athlete.
You're
losing your water big time because of the sweating. Whole nother story.
Yeah, I wouldn't also add I wouldn't recommend drinking a whole lot of Gatorade either, because a lot of those drinks still have sugar in it as well too. You might think you're doing something good, but you might be causing something else in the process.
Just go with water. Go with what's made and created. Clean water.
Definitely. I knew a little girl that she played basketball, and that was her thing. But she played not only at school, but then she was in another league, so she was killing the basketball. But she didn't drink enough water. She had the worst pain, and it was like we thought it might be her kidneys. And that's what the doctors thought too. And she actually had to have an ultrasound. And so she had to drink, all that water so that they could see the imaging. And it was just basically she had to drink more water. So, so even your children, please make sure, especially if they're in sports, that they're drinking their water, because what you sweat out, you got to replace that stuff. So, yeah, somebody said, so if you sweat a lot, just regular water is fine.
Yes.
Yes. Is spring water okay to drink?
What I think I drink Poland. Is that considered? I don't know what spring.
I drink the water out the tap.
Yeah.
There's a whole big saga about water and alkaline versus this versus that.
Just water.
Look, I always just drink water. Only drink those sports drinks after intense physical activity. He is absolutely right. That's what Ella said, and that's right. Yeah. So if you Powerade, Gatorade, all of that stuff, intense, like you said, intense physical activity, not walking around the block. Can you drink too much water?
You can. There are medical conditions where people have excessive thirst. My dog, sorry guys.
Go ahead. You're fine. Go ahead.
They have excessive thirst and they drink a lot of water, and then that shifts the electrolytes in their body, and then they can have a low sodium, which then can cause them to be altered rapidly and things like that. So, and also some patients, if they're on certain medications, that can also cause them to have that sensation of wanting to drink a lot of water. But as us, like regular, people who are healthy, your body knows, right? Like you just drink water, like you're not gonna do any damage. But if you're like being coming up, like we're not gonna say drink 3 gallons of what Renee's drinking. That's excess. Like not 3, in one
Right.
day. Just yeah.
Right. And also, if you drink a glass of water before you eat, you'll probably eat less, right, Dr. Kelly?
Definitely.
So it helps you drink water. I'm telling you, drink. And when you think that you are hungry, drink some water
Yeah.
because you are probably thirsty and not
Mhm.
hungry. So water can help you. Somebody said, is it okay to eat fish every day?
I wouldn't see a reason why
I
not.
don't see a problem either.
Yeah, but if you're asking about the protein intake, yeah, again, your body regulates all that. Like if you're like the dialysis patient, we tell them not to eat things like processed meat, like deli meat and things that are high in phosphorus. Like you don't want anything that's preserved. But if it's just protein, you just eat. Yeah, I don't like fish. Okay, Marlo, don't eat the fish.
I don't know what is going on here. He said he used to work in the dietary department in the hospital too.
Right.
But so any last question? How often should you get your blood sugar checked? The last time I had mine checked was last year and it was 4.
I think most primary care doctors would check that once a year at your physical. They recommend starting to check that after the age of 45 because that's when your risk for having diabetes goes up. But I'm not 45 yet, and I've been having mine checked every year probably for the last 10 years. So most doctors will do that as part of your annual physical.
Do you see this question from Kim?
Yeah.
Dr. Kelly? Oh, whoever wants to take it.
Oh, the hydrochlorothiazide.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a blood pressure medication that works really well in African American population for blood pressure control, and it's a diuretic, so it does cause you to urinate. And so yeah, like if you're already, you're going to the restroom a lot, water is still advised, because you are losing the fluid. But the blood pressure medication is focusing on the number, your blood pressure. So you don't have to say, oh, because I'm taking a diuretic and I'm urinating, then I should cut back on my water. It regulates, the body regulates itself.
Perfect. Any last minute questions, please type them in. Yeah, so Ellis said, if you're not diabetic or pre-diabetic, you can get your blood sugar checked annually. Exactly. Thank you so much, Ellis. So ladies, thank you so much. This was very informative. And if anyone has any questions, how can they reach you, Dr. Kelly?
Oh, so you can find me on all social media handles at Dr. Kelly Wood, MD, DrKellyWood, MD.
And Dr. Scherly?
It's my name right there, Scherly Leon, MD. .com, I believe. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook at SLeonMD.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Inez, please tell them about your amazing business because Inez is somebody that I've been sending folks to regularly recently.
So I'm a brand copywriter and I help develop identity messaging and marketing tools for entrepreneurs, mainly Black women entrepreneurs. But I help everyone. And so my business name is Woody Sweet and Company. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm also a writer for Parents Magazine.
Yeah, she's been writing some very, very great articles. Who was the last celebrity you interviewed?
Portia Williams.
Portia Williams. Yeah, so she's been killing it. We had one last thing. Somebody said, what does this have to do with the thyroid, Dr. Kelly?
There's no, there's no real direct relation between thyroid disease and kidney failure. But a lot of patients, because of the age demographics, thyroid disease is more common in patients over the age of 60. diabetes is also more common in that population. So it's not uncommon to find patients who have both diabetes and thyroid. But I'm not aware of a direct causal link between the two disorders.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies. Everyone have a fabulous evening. We will see you again next week. Next week, we'll be in a new month, won't we? So we will see you next week. Same time, same place. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.